This so we could share this on the web for our colleagues and peers. Welcome. How are you? Thank you for joining us. I do like to honor people's time, so I'm sure we'll have some people pop in when they're available, but I do want us to get started as soon as possible. So we'll do that right now. My name is Deborah Levy, and I am the Assistant Director for Educational Access and Disability Services here at the University of Maryland, Baltimore. I've been here at the university for just a little over a year. Just to tell you a little bit about my background, I have a master's degree in social work, and I have a master's degree in adult learning and leadership. And I have an executive coaching certification as well. Prior to working at the University of Maryland, I worked at Columbia University Medical Center in a similar campus such as this, graduate sciences, hospital-based, where we also provided our graduate science students with coaching services. So in this presentation, you'll see things from our UMB site, as well as some literature and theoretical stuff from adult learning, as well as just some interesting things that we provided over at Columbia. So it's a little theoretical, a little literature review, and then some fun stuff, okay? So we'll get started. Well, thank you again for coming and learning more about what coaching can be at the University of Maryland, Baltimore. This will be our agenda for the day, just to give you a heads up. All right, so why are we providing here at the University of Maryland coaching services? Well, we certainly value the student as a whole. In fact, we have a wellness hub, which is health promotion programming here at the school. We recognize that students have many facets to their life in addition to academia. And we also recognize that students can be at their best academically and professionally if we do not ignore these other elements in their life. So therefore, the university provides programming educationally regarding wellness, but also particularly individual services such as coaching. Has anyone seen this before? Okay. It is a wonderful, idealistic, beautiful wheel of wellness of what it could what we would like our lives to be like. Highly unlikely, unfortunately. But this is the ideal. So when we think about the graduate student, it kind of looks like this. And our ideal in regards of coaching services, we're hoping to fill out this wheel a little bit more. So it's a little more round and equal. And later on in this presentation, we will do a wheel of life exercise. Everyone should have a document in front of them, and it kind of goes into this wheel a little bit more. Okay. Would someone like to read this quote, if they can see it? I personally need to go to the eye doctor, so I'm not going to make you guys do that. So let me go ahead and I'll read on behalf of us. So let's think about the graduate student as an era, okay? So Daniel Levinson is a notable educational scholar, and this is what he has to say. The second era, early adulthood, lasts from about age 17 to 45 and begins with early adult transition. It is the adult era of greatest energy and abundance and of greatest contradiction and stress. Biologically, the 20s and 30s are the peak years of the life cycle. In social and psychological terms, early adulthood is in the season for forming and pursuing the youthful aspirations, establishing the niche in society, raising a family, and as the era ends, reaching a more senior position in adulthood. This can be the time of rich satisfaction in terms of love, sexuality, family, occupational enhancement, creativity, and realization of major life goals. But there can also be crushing stresses. We must take critically important choices regarding marriage, family, work, and lifestyle before we have the maturity or life experience to choose wisely. Early adulthood is the era in which we are most buffeted by our own passions and ambitions from within and by the demands of family, community, and society from without. Under reasonable, favorable conditions, the rewards of living in this era are enormous, but the costs often equal or even exceed the benefits. Any thoughts? What comes up for you? Yes?
I think it's particularly interesting the point of we have to make these decisions really before we're knowledgeable enough to make them. I mean, it's not a contradiction, right? So, I mean, maybe saying connection coaching, that might be helpful, because sometimes a young person won't have life experience to know what a good, work, family, marriage, decision would be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Anything else? Yeah?
Graduate school can be electric. Giving up the best years of your life in order to go towards this dream you had when you were in undergrad or high school, and it's hard to balance. So, best social years of my life when I'm 20s and 30s, I'm stuck studying for 16 hours a day.
Yes. Thank you for that perspective. Yes?
There's a lot of
Conflicts.
you have to balance this time between family or work or your social life or travel and do all those things. Like these are the years of doing it, but you also have these obligations of trying to create those roots and those anchors wherever you are for the rest of your life. So.
Anyone else? Well, the first thing that I noticed is the age range he talks about. Early adulthood starts at 17 and ends at 45. Many of us in this room could probably fit in that nice range. And it's also interesting that he calls it early adulthood. The second thing that is significant for me is that it's a very precious time for many life choices to come to a head. So as we relate to where our students are here at the University of Maryland, this is where a lot of them fit. And we are, in some cases, the institution where, although we're allowing them to pursue themselves academically and professionally, we really need to be cognizant and mindful that there are other things going on during this time that are just as important. So through my own research, I've been able to find this wonderful diagram regarding what a graduate student stress model could look like. I can't take credit for the model, but I'll just credit the person who did. So this, if you think about your own life, this could probably touch on a lot of what you as a student deal with. You have stress there in the middle. Some coping strategies could be the structure and the routine. You always have consequences to the decisions that you make. And it's a very interesting condition of life. I like to say to students that unfortunately being the role of a student is 24/7. You can't shut it off at 5 p.m. on Friday. So there's a lot of pluses and minuses to that role. Well, when we look at graduate students, we found a few things. There are depressive symptoms that has been found in medical students and residents, and it's actually higher than other graduate students. 21.2% compared to the 8 to 15% of other graduate students. What we have also noticed is there's a high level of stress in graduate science students. And again, this is research-based. You can also look at the educational system. I found this very interesting, and maybe you guys in the room would agree, that lecturers tend to talk about the content, but not necessarily paying attention to the learning style and achievements for a student to absorb the information. It's all content-based. Rote memorization. I see some nods from our students here. Yeah. Okay. What we also notice is, although things can be in a lecture style, that sometimes students have difficulty when it comes to group projects and group dynamics and working in labs. So here's some examples of challenges within higher education. High stakes environment, right? Time, finances, your professional career is potentially in the balance. It's the beginning of a career, confusion regarding your long-term goals, not really sure what opportunities are available, challenges that don't fit into any category. Isn't necessarily mental health, isn't necessarily academic advising. Lots of students feel alone in their own problems and in their own academic world. Sometimes people have difficulty communicating appropriately with the people that they work with, and competing goals regarding academic, professional versus personal and family. And then everyone in this room, including myself, comes with their own baggage, comes with their own life circumstances and family and history, which, you know, can come up during this time. Well, here at the university, we were curious about what coaching could be here and if students would be interested. So we asked you if you thought that coaching would be a credible resource for you, a valuable service. And at the time, we were looking at the GPILS program, which is the Graduate Student Life Sciences, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about that. But we also have the UMB overall, 51% valuable, over 57%, it would probably help academic success, improve wellness, possibly financial management, work-life balance, stress reduction. But they also noticed the significant time barrier. A lot of people think they don't have enough time to help me figure out what I need to do. That was very Regis Philbin of me. So let's get into coaching. What is it? Coaching is a partnering with students in a thought-provoking and creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. Here at the university, we had a training program to train our coaches, and we used the coactive coaching model. And I'd be happy to have you look at this book that gives you a little more detail with regards to how we perceive coaching. I also have here 2 papers that I wrote in 2009 regarding coaching. The use of coaching within higher education, the case for coaching within a higher education context, adult learning perspective, if you're interested. Okay. All right. So with regards to a coactive coaching, or what the University of Maryland Baltimore coaches utilize, we have 4 guiding principles. First and foremost, we adhere to a high standard of ethical conduct. We focus on the student's agenda, not their partner's agenda, not their advisor's agenda, not our agenda or the university's agenda, the student. Earn the right to advance at each stage of the coaching process. In other words, work together and create alliance together slowly, and build commitment through involvement. Both work together coactively regarding decision making. So what's important to know about coaching is that the student leads everything. The student comes in and the first thing a coach asks is, what would you like to talk about today? The student brings up the topic, the direction, explores the options, makes the decision on what they are willing to pursue. The role of coaching, or the role of the coach, is to ask powerful questions that allows the student to come up with the options or resolutions for themselves. Sometimes people wonder what is the difference between coaching and mental health. And this is a great quote that I'm borrowing. Therapy is about uncovering and recovering, while coaching is about discovering. So if I'm in the middle here, considering myself in present time, sometimes therapy has to go into the past, and coaching really is future-oriented. It's solution-focused and goal-oriented. There is no DSM-4 diagnosis involved in coaching, whereas perhaps in counseling or in therapy, there is that. Although coaching is different than therapy, we're still all related in the helping process, and this is a great illustration of the roots of coaching coming from therapy, coming from organizational behavior, adult learning, adult development, and moves up into everyday life, whether it's life coaching or career coaching, team coaching, health coaching. So does it work? That's a great question. So there's a great theory that I personally enjoy from McCluskey called theory of margin. And if you think of margin of life as the energy you have to do things that you enjoy, the passion, the learning comes from energy. If you are tapped out, are you able to really learn material or read? Think of it as going through a page of your reading over and over and over again, and you're unable to sink it in because you're probably focused on other things. Has anyone ever had that experience? No one here? Okay. So if you think about that energy, in order to get that energy, you need to have more power than load, okay? Load is the stuff that weighs you down. The responsibilities, the work, the finances, the laundry, the argument with the spouse, taxes, load. Power is the energy you're able to take care of that load. And the less load you have on yourself, the more energy you have to learn. Does that make sense? Okay, so the way I view coaching is a tool to give you more power, to give you more ability to conquer the load and give you the space to learn. So if we went into the research, there's very little with regards to how coaching results in academic settings. But what we have found is that students are more likely to achieve goals, improves mental health, enhances quality of life, retention is increased, and graduation rates are increased. Regarding higher education, again, it's limited, but middle schoolers found great improvement when they had partnered up with a coach. And high school seniors found that they had more, energy, increased hope and hardiness. And when I say hardiness, it's the ability to feel like you can do something, that you have that confidence. Hardiness equals confidence. Okay, so coaching here at the university is not new. In fact, it started around 2010. But we've noticed is that people don't know so much that we are here and available to assist students. So our plan for this year is to be a bit more targeted with regards to getting our good service out there in the community. So we started with the graduate school. they have a cohort that started in the fall of 56 students. So we proposed to the graduate school that we match up each of their students with a coach so that they could possibly gain from that experience 4 face-to-face sessions for the first semester, and then continue on if they chose to. If at any time they didn't want to pursue coaching, they could say no. So our hope is through this more targeted approach, we're able to give you even more data and hopefully add to the research in higher education regarding coaching. All right. So now we have an activity called the Wheel of Life. Does everyone have one in front of them? Okay. So this is just an opportunity for you to think about your own life. And when you look at the wheel, you're able to change categories if there's something that isn't applicable to you. But just think about your own satisfaction in these areas. If you feel 100% satisfied, you would mark a 10. If there's room for improvement, you would mark accordingly. And take a few minutes to do that. Does anybody have anything from that experience you would like to share? Does anyone have a 10 in an area? Oh, good for you. What area? Fun and recreation. Good for you. Do you have a 10? Career. Good for you. Excellent. So it sounds like there's some room for things to be even more round or perfect in other areas, correct? Yes?
So, just a note, I did this workshop for the Wheel of Life Design last week, and so I've been looking at my wheel now versus last week, just maybe a month ago, and how it always changes. So it's always good to be able to take that step back and look at what all these different, just how things change on a weekly basis, and how you're satisfied in maybe one part of your life. It's not like stagnant.
No, it's not stagnant at all. Such is life, right? Yeah, this is a great tool that everyone can use. It's a great starting off point if you were to have a coaching service, because you can kind of identify, even if you can't identify for yourself where the problem is, that's a good snapshot for you to give a broad idea. I did it double-sided, so you're welcome to check in with yourself at a later date and redo the exercise. Or if you have a manager or a partner or significant other that you work closely with and you want to see what their wheel looks like, you can do that as well. But yeah, when you see where the disconnect is, room for improvement, that certainly is a place where you a potential where you can talk to a coach. Any questions just yet? So most importantly, all this theory, all this research means nothing. What's important to me? How am I going to benefit from this? We're going to make all your dreams come true. Just kidding. But what we can do is we can offer a caring and competent coach that works collaboratively to address topics that are important to you, the student. You do have confidentiality. It is between you and the coach. The only caveat to that, same with mental health, is that if you believe that you're going to hurt yourself or someone else, that changes. It is free to all UMB students. What? Free? Get out of here. It's free. An opportunity and a place to clarify goals and values, and an opportunity to develop practical steps to reach goals and to flourish academically, personally, and professionally. So there's a few of our coaches in the room, and I've been a coach for graduate students for a few years. These are some examples that students come to talk to us about, finishing and completing dissertations, becoming more effective with their study, perhaps even readapting to academic life versus the real world, because that is a challenge. Feeling like there's something that needs to change, but you can't really identify what. Needing a partner to figure out how to execute a personal plan. Learning how to effectively manage boundaries between work and family. Learn how to manage competing demands. Increasing control when faced with stressful events. And even networking, strengthening personal and professional social networks. I didn't even put in here, but healthy habits is something that we work with students regarding study strategy, board study, and even health habits. They know they have to work on their health. They don't really know where to start. We talk to students about that as well. So we're ready when you are. Just to give you a little background about our coaches here at the University of Maryland, there has been intensive training to these coaches, 24 to 30-hour trainings with a certified coach with the International Federation of Coaching. We take it pretty seriously. It's not just a one-shot deal. We actually meet with these coaches for continuing development and supervision. And you have an option of several different coaches, and not all of them are on this website, but I just wanted to show you there's bios available for you to see. So all these people had coaching training. All right, Deborah, your workshop was brilliant. I can't wait to get started. But what do? Rest assured, I can share with you how you can get into a coaching relationship. You would just simply find it on our website under Campus Life Wellness Hub, and you can see coaching, request a coach. This is just a screenshot. And then hopefully, after you pursue coaching, this is how you feel at the University of Maryland, Baltimore. Any questions? Yes?
I'm certified for CTI.
Mm-hmm.
Trainings. I've been doing this for a while.
I hear great things about CTI.
Yeah. Was the collective training that you had was not through coach training institute?
It was not.
I see.
It was not.
There's also a model that can be useful and it's more specific called conquer coaching.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that's a service that you offer. This is something designed for when a student or when an individual is having a particular problem, getting along with a person. There's like a lot of, or it can be knowing that
Mm.
It could be negotiation, I don't know how to handle what's coming up, and it's more skill-based rather
Mhm.
than broad-based. I just wondered whether it's something that the university would ever consider, because I'm with the Center for Dispute Resolution, we're all over mediation and alternative processes with
Mhm.
conflict, and we know that in universities, there's a lot of that going on.
Yeah. Absolutely. We have not pursued that formally, but we're certainly a young service and very energized regarding coaching. So we would certainly be interested in knowing more about conflict coaching. Any other questions?
How often do you meet, and like, what's the length of a session, I guess?
Great question. I would say it ranges between 30 minutes to an hour, usually around 45 minutes. You could have acute coaching if you have a specific need, and you might need 1 to 2 sessions to figure that out. And it runs the gamut. It could be 1 or 2, or it could be as long as you'd like. Another benefit for coaching here at the university is that it's unlimited sessions. As long as time is available, a coach would be happy to see you. What you'll find is kind of like that wheel of life, that the topic of coaching is a moving target. You feel good about, you're concerned about one thing, and then you feel good about it, and then something else comes up. I worked with I work with a few students long-term now, and in my work in New York, I worked with 2 or 3 students for years regarding health habits, and one was with regards to social anxiety and becoming less shy and being able to enjoy life a little differently. Any other questions? Well, we are so excited about our coaching services here at the university. We hope you'd like to join us, and if you have more questions offline, please go ahead and speak to me. And you're welcome to look at AMI material and share and pass along the good word. Thank you very much for coming here today. Have a good one.